Hey, what's up guys, it's DarkArmedDuelist and today doing an Azamina Diabellstar deck profile. So I'm really excited to do some for you guys because this deck is an extremely powerful deck that can easily control the board and go in for game. So without further ado, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell in there so you can come part notification squad, and definitely check out the Patreon down in the description below for all those awesome rewards. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get straight on into this. So first off, we're playing 3 copies of Diabellstar, the Black Witch. This card is such an awesome card. With the ability that you can actually special summon this card from your hand by sending a card from your hand or field to the graveyard. And if this card is normal or special summon, you can actually set a simple spell or trap directly from your deck, which is such a powerful ability because we have so many good options in this deck that you can get to, like your copy of Deception that can help us step into our Azamina engine. This card also has a really cool effect that during your opponent's turn, and this card is sent from the owner's hand or field to the graveyard, you can send a card from your hand or field to the graveyard, and if you do, special summon this card, which is a great ability to instantly bring this card back. We then play 2 copies of Diabellstar Vengeance. This card is such an awesome boss monster with the ability, this card is always treated as a simple spells card. And this card has the ability that you can actually banish a spell and a trap from your hand and or graveyard to special summon this card from your hand or graveyard. And quick effect, you can actually pay half your life points and target a card that your opponent controls and destroy it. Then, if another Diabell monster is on the field, you can actually special summon a Tuner Synchro monster that's an illusion or spellcaster from your extra deck, which is great to help us instantly react our copy of Popular of the White Forest directly to our side of the field, so we can actually quick synchro into some insane boss monsters. We then play a single copy of Queen Azamina. Queen Azamina is a really cool one of in the build because this card is also always treated as a simple spells card, with the ability if this card's in the hand or the field is sent to the graveyard or banished by an activated effect, you can actually special summon it. And when your Azamina or White Forest monster destroys an opponent's monster by battle, you can actually target a simple spell or trap in the graveyard and add it back to your hand, which is such a powerful ability to instantly recover our cards. We then play 3 copies of Lava Golem. This deck can go first or it can go second, which is so cool about this deck. And this card is just amazing to basically tribute over 2 of your opponent's monsters because we really don't have a normal summon in this deck. So this card is really good to basically just tribute over 2 of your opponent's monsters because it's so easy to out. We then play 3 copies of Ash Blossom. Ash Blossom's an amazing 3 of in the build to basically use this card to stop the opponent from touching the deck. We then also play 3 copies of Molcharmy Fluros. Fluros is an extremely powerful 3 of in the build to basically just dig in the deck for the exact cards that we need. So that's it for the monsters, guys. Let's get in to the spells. So for the spells, we're going to start with 2 copies of Simple Spells of Subversion, Snake Eye. This card is so cool and just basically spot removes a monster. With the ability that you can target a face-up monster on the field and place it face-up in its owner's spell and trap card zone as a continuous spell. Which is a pretty cool ability to basically bump a monster back like a copy of Lava Golem, and it's really cool to be able to use this card to basically just spot remove monsters off the field. We then play 3 copies of the Hollowed Azamina. Hollowed Azamina is really cool to help us basically step into our Azamina package, and this card is so good because we have so many different simple spells cards that we can basically use to be able to step into the Azamina package. With this card having the ability, you can reveal an Azamina fusion monster in your extra deck, and for every 4 levels it has, round down, you send a simple spells card from your hand or field to the graveyard. If face down, you reveal it. Then you get to special summon the revealed monster, which is treated as a fusion summon. And if this card's in the graveyard, you can actually target an Azamina monster that you control or in your graveyard, shuffle into the deck, and if you do, you get to add this card back to your hand so you can use it all over again. We then play 3 copies of Azamina Diabellstar. This card is really cool as a 3-of in the build. This card is basically a quick play version of the Hollowed Azamina, helping us basically step into our Azamina package, which is super cool. Also, during the main phase, you can actually banish a card in the graveyard to target an Azamina monster in the graveyard and special summon it, which is an amazing ability. We then play 3 copies of Wanted. Wanted is basically Rhoda for Diabellstar, making this card definitely a 3-of in the build. We then play 3 copies of Deception. This deck basically revolves around Deception, which is so cool about this card. I mean, this card is so important for the build, with the ability to contribute a monster from your hand or field, and then add an Azamina card from your deck to your hand, which helps us get to cards like the Hollowed Azamina or a copy of Azamina Diabellstar, which is really, really important. Also, if a monster is sent from your opponent to your opponent's graveyard and you control an Azamina monster, you can actually make your opponent lose 1,500 life points, and if you do, gain 1,500 life points, which is a game-ending effect, because 1,500 life points is actually a lot of life points, which is actually insane. And during the end phase, if this card is in the graveyard because it was sent there from the spell and trap card zone this turn, while face up, you can actually set it back to your side of the field, which is a really powerful ability to basically use it all over again, which is super cool. So that's it for the spells, guys. Let's get into the traps. So for the traps, we're going to start with a single copy of Azamina Determination. This card is amazing and the build is a 1-of, but you only need a single copy of this card because this card is basically a trap version of the Hollowed Azamina, letting you reveal an Azamina fusion monster in your extract, and for every 4 levels it has round down, shuffle a Sinful Spools card from your graveyard or banishment into the deck, then special summon the revealed monster and treat it as a fusion summon. You can also banish a card in the graveyard to target a Sinful Spools spell or trap in the graveyard and set it back to your side of the field, but it cannot be activated this turn. And this card is just so good in the build to basically recycle resources while also being able to step into some really insane Azamina boss monsters. We then play a single copy of Sinful Spools of Slumber. Sinful Spools of Slumber is great as a 1-of in the build. It helps out a lot in the deck, letting you target a face-up special summon monster on the field and change it to face-down defense position. And if you control a level 5 or higher illusion monster while this card's in the graveyard, you can set this card but banish it when it leaves the field. We then play 3 copies of Sinful Spools of Betrayal. Sinful Spools of Betrayal is amazing as a 3-of in the build and such a powerful negate, with the ability that you can actually send a Diabellstar monster from your hand or face from field to the graveyard and then target a face-up card in the field and negate its effects, which is a great ability to basically use your copy of Diabellstar as a negate. Also, when your opponent activates a card or effect in response to your Diabellstar's monster's effect, or your copy of your Sinful Spools spells or trap cards or activated effect, you can banish a card in the graveyard to negate that opponent's effect, which is a really powerful graveyard ability. We then play 3 copies of Infinite Impermanence. Infinite Impermanence is amazing in this build as a 3-of to basically just use this card as a monster negate and be able to set this card to your side of the field to negate spells and trap cards. We then play 3 copies of Dominus Impulse. Dominus Impulse is great because we're basically just using dark monsters in the deck, so this card is amazing in the build to basically just use this card to stop your opponent's special summons, which is actually insane. So that's it for the main deck, guys. Let's get into the extra deck. So for the extra deck, we're going to start off with Saint Azamina. Saint Azamina is our main boss monster in the deck, and this card is actually insane, basically making so your opponent is always going to take the damage, with the ability that your opponent cannot target cards in their field, graveyard, or banishment, or this card on the field, which is an insane ability to basically just not be able to target any of their own cards, or this card with card effects is actually insane because there's so many different cards in the game that actually target your own cards, so this card is actually insane as a floodgate. Also, your opponent takes any battle damage you would have taken, and if this fusion summon card was summoned this turn, quick effect, you can special summon a level 9 or lower Azamina monster from your deck or your extra deck, instantly bring out an additional monster to the field. We then play 2 copies of Musalago. Musalago is a really cool 2-of in the build. This card has the ability of monsters your opponent control lose 500 attack and defense for each Azamina monster that you control. And if this card is fusion summoned, you can actually add an Azamina or a Simple Spools card from your deck to your hand. And if this card is destroyed by battle or by card effect, you can add a Simple Spool spell from your deck to your hand. We then play 2 copies of Severa. Severa is a walking negate, so this card is really good as a 2-of in the build to basically just stop your opponent's plays, and it helps out a lot in this deck. And any battle damage your Azamina monster inflicts to your opponent is actually doubled, which is an insane ability to be able to use. We then play a sealed copy of Azamina. Azamina is so easy to summon in this deck, because basically you just have to tribute your copy of your Saint Azamina plus an opponent's monster to summon out this card. As this card is just absolutely insane and literally a kaiju with your copy of your Saint Azamina, which is super cool to basically out your opponent's cards. Also, this card is a really powerful ability that it cannot be destroyed by card effects, and each time that your opponent activates a card or effect, all monsters they currently control lose 500 attack point when it resolves, and your opponent cannot activate the effects of monsters with 0 attack points, and this card comes out at 4,000 attack points, which is actually insane to be able to help you go in for game. We made a sealed copy of Moregina. Moregina is great to be able to summon because this card helps us pop cards on the field and just a really good boss monster to be able to summon. We made a sealed copy of Soul. Soul is great to help you additionally pop cards on the field. This card is in this card is fusion summoning. You can actually target a card on the field and send it to the graveyard, which is a pretty cool ability to be able to use. And also during the standby phase, you can target an Azamina or Simple Spools card in the graveyard and add it back to your hand, which is a pretty cool ability to be able to use. I see a copy of Chaos Angel. Chaos Angel is pretty easy to summon in the deck, and just a really awesome option to build to help you spot remove cards off the field. We see a copy of Snake Eyes Vengeance Dragon. This card is super cool to be able to play in the build, and actually Diabellstar. This card is literally Diabellstar in her dragon form, which is super cool. Because during the main phase, quick effect, you can actually target a face-up monster on the field or in either player's graveyard and place it face up in its owner's spell and trap card zone as a continuous spell card. Also, this card cannot use this effect the next turn. And during the battle phase, quick effect, you can actually target a monster and a continuous spell on the field and destroy them. We then play a sealed copy of Severa, Wolf Tamer of the White Forest. This card is really cool to be able to summon off the effect of your copy of your Diabellstar Vengeance, because if this card is special summon, you can change all face-up monsters that your opponent controls to face-down defense position, basically being a disruption as a Book of Eclipse. We then play a sealed copy of Popular of the White Forest. Popular of the White Forest is really good as a 1-of in the build to basically help us synchro summon, because you can summon this card off your copy of your Diabellstar Vengeance, which actually lore accurately summons out your copy of your Snake Eyes Vengeance Dragon, which is hilarious about this card. We then play a sealed copy of Typhon. Typhon's basically just a skill drain for 3,000 attack point monsters and a bounce. We then play a single copy of SP Little Knight. SP is just really good overall in the build to basically use this card as a double interruption. So, that's it for the deck, guys. I hope you enjoyed. This deck is super fun to be able to play. If you guys have never played an Azamina Diabellstar deck before, you should definitely give this deck a try, because it's just super fun to be able to play. And it's insane that you can actually play Diabellstar as her own deck, which is so cool. And I absolutely love this build. So, let's go to this one, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell and there's income bar notification squad. And we'll see you guys in the next video. See you later, guys.